Since the pandemic, employees are leaving the workforce or switching jobs in droves. For many, employers have played a big part in why they're walking away. A Microsoft survey of more than 30,000 global workers showed that 41% of people were considering quitting or changing their professions this year. A study of workers in the UK and Ireland showed 38% of those plan to quit in the next 6 months to a year. In the US alone, April saw more than 4 million people quit their jobs, according to a summary from the Department of Labour, the biggest spike on record. In the world of work, things are changing. There are loads of reasons why lots of people are resigning from their jobs. Economists have dubbed it the Great Resignation. For some workers, the pandemic encouraged people to start pursuing their dream job or transition to being a stay-at-home parent. For many others, it really highlighted how poorly some employers can really treat their workers. And for the rest of us, it's merely the thought of having to commute on a train multiple days a week that is really starting to send people over the tipping point. Now, major retailers are massively struggling to fill a lot of the positions. There are tons of open vacancies on the market and they're struggling to get workers through the door. Companies including Target and Best Buy are increasing hourly wages, and McDonald's and Amazon are even trying to offer sign-on bonuses from anywhere from $200 to $1,000 just to sign a new employee onto their books. But despite all of this, the executive search firm Korn Ferry have found that over 94% of retailers are struggling to hire new people into their workforce. Many years ago, a lot of work was unskilled, which means that the workforce were incredibly replaceable, whereas these days, one of the biggest risks to some of the biggest corporations is the actual brains of the people they hire, the people who hold the incredible knowledge that can really keep the company on its feet, because otherwise it's really costly to retrain brand new people who don't know the ins and outs of all these products that are being delivered. A big part of the problem is that even though financial incentives are a start, it's not enough to convince people who now want to work for ethical companies who value their employees. For example, many service and retail workers are actually finding alternative work, which sometimes may mean less pay, but in the hopes that they can work for a company that have more compassion and value them more as a person and a human being. And with so many employers hiring at the moment, employees are finding this easy to move to these companies that are better. Could this Great Resignation bring about meaningful, long-term change to workplace culture and the way that companies invest in their employees? The millennials and Gen Z are already showing as they enter the workforce that it's not just about the money, and instead they're looking for the right company to work for. We're already seeing famous industries like the investment banks of Wall Street struggle to find enough talent as graduates are choosing more humane hours over a six-figure salary. Now, I have a few thoughts of this on my own. For far too long, employers have really demanded a lot from their employees, whether you're at the entry level or at the very top executive level. There's a lot of ask for not much favour in return. Application processes are getting tougher with multiple rounds, with some engineering roles in the world now requiring 9 interviews. It's a waste of everybody's time. But despite all of this extra work, all of these extra interviews and a harder job economy, salaries have remained pretty stagnant in comparison to the price of life and houses. But despite everyone working more hours and harder, wages have really stagnated, meaning the cost of living is going up faster than what people can afford. When you look at the average wage growth versus house prices in the UK over the past 30 to 40 years, back in 1987, the average house price was 3 times the average UK salary. And London was a little bit ahead of this at 5.5 times the average UK salary compared to average house prices. Fast forward to recent years, and now London is 10 times the average salary for the average house price, and in the UK this is now more than 5 times. This means that the gap is increasing on what people are earning versus what they can afford in the housing sector. The main problem with this is that banks only tend to lend 4 times your salary plus the deposit that you have saved, which means that it's not enough to pay for these expensive houses. House prices versus pay is only the start of it though. When it comes to actual employers, there are a lot of disgruntled workers in the UK, and since the pandemic, a lot of people have really stepped back and thought about what they truly want in life and what is causing a lot of personal change. Another issue is around commuting. It wasn't uncommon before the pandemic for people to spend 1 to 2 hours a day commuting from their home to their workplace completely unpaid and without expenses. This means that for those who chase the higher paying jobs in the city, they're getting a better salary, but they're also paying more on train fares in their own time. So is it really worth it? The third reason why I think employee mindset is shifting is because Traditionally in the corporate world, you are expected to work a few extra hours here and there, maybe a little bit of evening work or a bit of weekend work on a Sunday night to do your emails. Whatever it is, it's almost like asking for a favour. But there's no favour in return. There's no higher bonus, there's no increased pay as a favour or a little bit of extra cash on the side. None of that happens. It's a bit of a one-way relationship. And a lot of this culture stems from the top down, and unfortunately it goes in cycles. As you have older people later in their careers at the top of hierarchies in big companies, you then start to see the younger people accept that culture as the norm, and thus the cycle then repeats itself. And in fact, in recent times, especially through the pandemic, employers have really relied on workers to work extra hard, extra hours for, at the moment, what is reduced pay and docked bonuses. And I remember one of the places that I worked for had some of their board in a conversation talking about their working hours, and one person quite happily and openly said that he, for 20 to 30 years, commuted on a train from 5 o'clock in the morning to get to the office at 7 in London, to work up until 7 in the evening and get back at 9 PM. Now that is not a healthy way to live. And there's a big difference between living to work and working to live. When you combine a mixture of people embracing more remote working, but also reassessing their life priorities and thinking about what they want out of their job and out of their life, it's no surprise that all of this is happening. To be honest, a lot of these feelings were probably already bubbling under the surface, and the pandemic has just brought all of this to life and really brought it to people's attention. We want to enjoy more nature, more time off and more time with family, so it'll be really interesting to see, as the world is starting to open up now, what the employer shift is going to look like and what that employee culture is going to look like as well. Who knows? If you enjoyed this, then definitely check out this video here, which is my top 3 personal finance books that inspired me to make over $12,000 in 1 month. So feel free to choose this, and I will see you in the next video.